morning, good morning. Peace and blessings. It's your boy Jay Taylor, Voices for the Voiceless. And we're back. Got another video. Hope everybody having a great Tuesday morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on whenever you catch this message. But yeah, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. We're going to get straight to the commentary. And as the title says, Nicki Minaj embraces MAGA and liberals are losing it. Right? And if you didn't know, in case you were, under a rock for the past couple days, Nicki Minaj appeared at the Turning Point USA AM Fest, uh, a conservative rally that went down that was massive this past weekend, and she was the surprise guest. And it was it's crazy to see that, the response to what I pretty much already knew, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other people already, pretty much picked up on, because Nicki Minaj sat down with Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, and had a very interesting conversation. And prior to this whole situation, she's been dropping little nuggets here and there about her views as far as politics are concerned. She's definitely been vocal, very vocal as of late. She just spoke up at the United Nations up for the Christian Nigerians. She's the first rapper that I know of that spoke before the United Nations, but she took to social media to speak up for the Nigerian Christians that are being slaughtered in Nigeria just for their faith. And it's a lot of speculations, people saying that they don't believe it, people saying they do believe it, but I mean, all you got to do is just do a quick Google search to see that it's real. And not only are Christians being slaughtered, you have a lot of Muslims that are being slaughtered that are speaking up for those Christians in Africa, in Nigeria. It's really the Islamic extremists that are the problem over there. They begging for Trump to come over, and it's just sad to see that people are being persecuted for their faith, regardless if they're Christian, regardless if they're Muslim, regardless of whatever their denomination is, Hindu, Buddhist. Nobody should be persecuted for believing in their faith, right? So, Nicki Minaj came out very vocal about it. The only entertainer that I've seen that has such a huge platform that used her platform to come out and speak on behalf of those people that are being slaughtered, in Nigeria, that just happen to be Christians, just for the fact that they're Christians. But she got backlash from a lot of the mainstream media as it pertains to that situation. And then back and forth with Governor Newsom of California. The governor of California made a very, from my vantage point, sick post on social media talking about he want to see more trans children. So Nicki Minaj had a little back and forth about that. Like, what do you mean you want to see more trans children? Children should not, when we talking about minor children, we talking about grade school children, should not be identifying as transgender. I don't care what nobody say. Right is right, wrong is wrong. That shouldn't even be on their mind. Let children be children. But for some reason, Gavin Newsom, put it out there that he want to see more of that. And, Nicki Minaj went back and forth. Like, man, even transgender adults don't want to see more transgender children. Something along those lines. So she got met with backlash as far as that situation was concerned, which I have no understanding. I mean, it's simple when it comes to things like that. Children can't even buy cigarettes. Children can't uh, purchase alcohol. Children can't, small children can't even get a driver's license. So why should they be allowed to choose to be the opposite sex? It's insanity. But in any event, that back and forth. And let me just be clear about California right quick, man. Because this governor has ran California in the mud. I remember I went to California back in the late 90s, early 2000s to visit family. And California was beautiful from my vantage point. Like from what I remember, I went to, Oakland, Los Angeles. I went to, I had family down there in South Central. And I got a chance to really kick it with some of my cousins. I was maybe about, you know, I was younger. Let's put it like I was a lot younger then. But I was old enough to remember how beautiful, even in the hood, it was. I'm like, dang, these are neighborhoods, like, man, it was beautiful. Palm trees. Man, they say now, if you go to California, it's just so just dirty, trash everywhere. Just, he really ran that state in those particular cities in the ground, from what I'm hearing. And it's just sad to see. And this man wants to run for president. Man, Governor Newsom sit up here talking about he wants trans children. Done ran the beautiful state of California in the mud. And this is who the Democratic Party is saying is their number one go-to for the candidate in 2028 for the president of the United States. Amazing. But anywho, that's another conversation for another day. Like I said, Nicki Minaj sat down at AM Fats with Erica Kirk. One thing you can tell is that Erica and Nicki Minaj were very comfortable with each other. Like, you can tell that I would assume that they have had conversations before prior to this sit down. That was pretty much obvious to me. Like, Nicki been behind the scenes, like, really, like, supporting the MAGA movement, which is astronomical, on a cultural aspect. And we'll get into that a little later. But, let's just be clear. Like, Charlie Kirk, was very vocal about Nicki Minaj and said that she was her music was not a good role model for, young black women, which I would agree. I'm not a huge fan of Nicki Minaj's music. You know what I'm saying? I never was really a fan. But that description that Charlie Kirk said, I would agree with. Like, you encourage your children in a certain way with your music. But if you pay attention to her later music, she started, switching it up a little bit with songs like Moment, and I would encourage people to go, check that song out. Moment, but by Nicki Minaj. She started to, like, branch out a little bit. And, you just got to give people room to grow. Nicki Minaj and other artists alike, they come out one way and, they may make they message and their music maybe one way. Like, I'm an artist. At one point, my message was different than my music. You know what I'm saying? But as you grow, as you mature, your content changes. Just like with her politics. She's seeing things through a different lens right now. So we just got to give people room to grow. And for some reason, let's be clear, just because she's a black woman and she's supporting MAGA, all black people are not a monolith. No people are all a monolith. And no group of people, every group of people should not be subjugated to have to think the same way. That's a very dangerous, ideology. Just because you a certain skin complexion, you got a certain level of melanin in you that you supposed to think a certain way, or you supposed to behave a certain way. To me, it was beautiful to see Erica Kirk and Nicki Minaj, showing unity between different cultures and coming together. And that's what it's all about. From my vantage point with MAGA, you got people from all walks of life, all different nationalities coming together for the betterment of what they believe in for the country, and also keep in mind, Nicki Minaj is in a different place in her life right now. She's a mother, she's a wife, so she's a lot older. And yeah, she's gonna view the world differently. She has a child, and she wants the best. She wants the best for her children, the best country, the best, whatever she can make it. And every parent should have those sentiments. You know what I'm saying? So, Nicki Minaj. Now, when they have this sit down, it was a lot that they talked about. Nicki Minaj expressed her admiration and respect for the President Trump, and a lot of people like, wow, you know what I'm saying? She acknowledged President Trump and said that she respects him and admires him. Well, you got to look at it. One thing that people not talking about, and I think I mentioned this in a previous video, is that don't forget Trump pardoned Lil Wayne in his first term. Lil Wayne is like her big brother. So even though she was probably critical of Trump back then, people can change their mind. And then when you see somebody pardon somebody that's like family to you, a president pardon your brother, yeah, you might change your mind about that individual. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, you're not that bad after all. You got my brother out there jail. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that people got to remember that, And she says she agrees with his Christian conservative views. One of those is boys will be boys. It's okay to be a boy. She was saying that with that sit down with Erica Kirk, and she touched on a situation that very controversial. She said that as far as black women have been so in America, women of color period have been so disenfranchised as far as their beauty, that why would women of color, black women specifically, have gone through that in America for so long? Why would they want to, I should say, push that narrative on white women now? It seems like there's it suggests that there has been a cultural shift over time, where now white women are feeling like they can't embrace their beauty, because of whatever racial discrimination from previous times. And it do kind of put you in the mind state of that Sydney, I think her name was Sydney Storm or something like that had that Levi's commercial. And I think that's what she was referring to, where she was saying, I got good genes. And a lot of black women got offended by that. She's saying she got good genes because she got blonde hair and blue eyes. And Nicki was saying was true. She could stand in her beauty as a white woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. And she said she could stand in her beauty as a black woman with black hair and brown eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like, we shouldn't have to be offended by, somebody saying, another race of people saying they beautiful. They should be able to embrace their beauty like she can embrace her beauty, And I think that was something that was interesting. And in the way that she's going, Nicki Minaj should have these cultural conversations. She's fearless, so she can have these uncomfortable conversations. And the way that she delivers it, I think that it would do a lot of good culturally. Even if you agree, you disagree, it opens up dialogue. It opens up conversation. So that was interesting to get a lot of her viewpoints. And now, with all that being said, the liberals melt down on social media. They done called them MAGA Minaj. It's crazy. Like, like I said, all black people are not a monolith. We all don't think alike. We all don't have the same political beliefs. But when you tend to lean more conservative in your beliefs, you are automatically become a target. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's gonna want to jump and pounce on you. I can relate. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't have a platform as big as Nicki Minaj, but I do get hit with a lot of pushback, and it's not easy being a black conservative in today's society. You know what I'm saying? You have to conform to liberalism. You have to be a Democrat, or you a traitor to your race, or something along those lines. So I really tip my hat off to Nicki Minaj having the platform that she has. But the liberals have, took it to social media. They question her motives. You know what I'm saying? They saying, like, first of all, how is you sitting up here talking about Christianity with the type of music that you make? Which is a valid argument. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, she made that music when she was a lot younger. And, now she's a mother. Now she's a wife. She's in a different space and in a different place in her life. So you got to give people room to grow. And I think that's the theme of this video. Give people room to grow. You know what I'm saying? Then they saying, how can she, she's being used by the Trump administration. Like, they using her as a political pawn. I don't believe that. I think that she is very, she was touched specifically by that situation with those Nigerians being slaughtered, for their faith. I think that you can't fake that reaction. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are quiet. They hush on it. So I'm happy somebody with a huge platform is highlighting that, because there's other things going on in the world, but that one right there is like kind of getting brushed over. So, everybody got their own cross to bear. And I think that really touched her. She's sincere. And a big one is her husband has a sex offender conviction. See, why is that? Why they want to bring that up? Some of the same people that were supporting her doing that whole revelation of her husband having this conviction on his record, like he a sex offender. And when you do the details on it, it's really some nonsense. Her husband was like 18 years old, and when he was dating a 16-year-old. So basically, he was a senior in high school. She was a sophomore. The parents found out, they got mad and pressed charges. It wasn't like he was 25 and she was 15, or nothing crazy like that. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't nothing like no 10-year gap on a minor or nothing like that. It was a situation where it was a 2-year age difference or something like that. He happened to be 18, she happened to be 16, and if they want to blow that out of proportion, right? And this is what the left do. This is why I don't really, I don't really subscribe to a lot of that, because that's petty, man. Like, why bring that up because she having a political opinion, and also they saying she must be using this for promotional use or promotional purposes. She must got an album coming out or something like that. Make no mistake, man, Nicki is well accomplished. You know what I'm saying? Like, she gonna be straight regardless. She got her own radio stations and stuff like that. Music is probably like one of the least amount of her income right now. She got people all over the world that's gonna stream her music regardless. She's broke. She must be broke now. That's another one. That has to be a joke. If you think Nicki Minaj is broke, you got to be sick for a walkthrough. Could you imagine what Nicki Minaj is getting? Come on now, let's just for a walkthrough. She has self-hatred. I don't believe that, man. That's ridiculous. And also, the LGBT community is furious at Nicki Minaj, and that's a large part of her base because, hey, hence the name Nicki Minaj, right? Her music definitely highlighted, the LGBT community and things of that nature. Feel me? So I think that when we talk about trans children, if you grown, and I'm pretty sure this is what Nicki Minaj is saying as it pertains to the whole situation with Gavin Newsom. You grown, do what you do. You know what I'm saying? You 18 and up, hey. But when you start promoting that type of lifestyle, why would anybody, and we talking kindergarten on up to 8th grade, high school, why would a child be wanted to identify as the opposite sex? Keep that away. Any over sexualization of children, we should be against, right? I think we all can agree on that. So for Gavin Newsom to make a statement like that, and you got legislation out here is promoting that, like, children can identify as the opposite sex without parental consent. I mean, this is stuff that we talk about in politics, and this is a huge reason why a lot of people have left the Democratic Party. It's like they don't went too far left. Now, when you pushing that on children, oh no, that's a lot of people tipping point, right? So, where we at with this? Now, Nicki Minaj responds to the backlash. For one, she said she don't notice it. Erica Kirk asked her, like, what do you think about the backlash, especially being from your the type of industry that you are a part of, and it's mostly liberal. You know what I'm saying? Like Hollywood, hip hop, that's a liberal platform. And she's made huge success in that platform, and to have this backlash, it could be people coming at you in every direction. And Nicki response is, I didn't notice. She says she's tired of being pushed around. She's not gonna back down. She says, we, speaking as in conservatives, are the cool kids. We must think. She said, we live in a time where people scared to think and scared to stand. So, they scared to stand on their 1, 2 and what they really believe in. And I can respect that. You know what I'm saying? And everybody should respect that, regardless what political position you hold. People should respect that and stop trying to question people's beliefs so much to the point where you're getting upset and taking to social media with all this outrage about somebody else's opinion and beliefs, And I think that Nicki Minaj standing on that, and she got more heart than a lot of these dudes in that industry. Just trust and believe, a lot of people feel the same way, But I think Nicki Minaj is in a different space, not only as a individual, but also as business wise, where she don't need the machine no more. So she could probably come out here and say things that a lot of people wish they could say. But my thoughts on what this means for the culture, I think it's good. I think it's good to have social dialogue, and differences and, valid points being raised. For one, this is a huge sacrifice that she's making for her career. You know what I'm saying? It's bigger than Nicki Minaj. I'm using Nicki Minaj as an example to point out other topics of conversation we can dive further into, and how the culture responds to, especially a black woman having this position and siding with President Trump in such a time where it's taboo for any black person to say they rock with Trump right now. You're going to get so much backlash, but she's standing on principle and she's unyielding. You got to salute that. I believe she's sincere, and I salute her bravery. You got to give people, once again, room to grow, and I think with her making this stance, it will inspire more people to speak out, and stand on the truth. Not their truth, but the truth. You know, because a lot of things she was saying, you can't get. It's just the truth. You can't get over it. You can't get under it. You can't get through it. It is what it is. Boys will be boys, and it's okay to be a boy. You know, that's what we need to teach our children, man. We got, I mean, that wrong, you want to do whatever, but we should not promote children to make a decision without their parents' consent. That's something that they may regret later on in life, right? You know what I'm saying? And that's just to me, truth is just always true. She's in a position where she can speak her mind freely once again. You know, she has financial freedom. I think that she's very very instrumental right now because she does come from that. I mean, you don't get it. You don't get too much more secular than Nicki Minaj, and you know, talking about the Christian faith with people saying, "How could you?" But what do you think? I think Charlie Kirk would embrace her if he was alive. Like, man, he probably would have been like, man, you know, I'm glad to see you making this change in your life. I mean, how long are you going to side with, you know, that, what you promoted in your music 20 years ago? You've grown as a woman, you've grown as a person, you've grown as a mother and as a wife. And I think that this is a shining example of what it means when we say, man, stand on business, don't back down, you know, always stand for what you believe in and don't let nobody push you around, you know. And she could have easily just stayed in the cut, stayed silent, when nobody knew her true political, you know, views. And I think that it's going to have a great effect for the MAGA movement, you know, moving forward. We got to stand strong. I mean, we got to stand on principle at this point, you know, as far as different issues that, you know, affect our society. So I tip my hat off to Nicki Minaj. It's your boy Jay Taylor. Voices for the voiceless. We love y'all. Until next time, we should see you soon. Peace and blessings.